So I was just listening to Jim Newman, and right before our meeting now, and he just got through saying the problem for the individual is there isn't one. The problem for the individual is there isn't one. Well, that'll stop you in your little tracks. In a way, we can say the me is like the Yeti or some legend monster, Loch Ness, that, you know, is legendary, but nobody's actually ever seen it. And that's like the me. You know that old saying? It's a legend in its own mind. So the problem is the me is, we can say, addicted to special because of course I'm, very special. And so I need a special solution, a special something that's going to help me get out of my fix. And what can't be heard by the me is that there's only ever just what's happening. Maybe we could say that it's the dream that it's happening to me. That's the so the me is always looking for special, because again, it takes itself to be special. But what we're talking about at this meeting has nothing to do with special at all, because everything is this. So special needs unspecial or not special or more special. So that's why this can't be put into words, literally. We're not, bless you. We're not just saying that to be fancy, oh, we can't really speak about it. Like it could sound mysterious to the me. Wow, what is this thing that can't be spoken? Well, you could call it everything, wholeness, unconditional love. Don't have to call it anything. We could say that me is the sense, that energetic sense that something needs to happen. What we're speaking about doesn't change. So if it doesn't change, that eliminates a lot of stuff, right? It's not a thought, thoughts change. It's not an image, images change. And so this thing that has no name, no form, no size, no shape, no location, nothing, appears as this, just what's happening, just this. However, it's showing up, good, bad, pleasurable, painful, because it doesn't judge it. So it's not going, this is bad, this shouldn't be happening, this is a little better. That's like the dream of the me. The me is always sort of like condemned to live out its demands. You know, the me is like this, you know, I demand that. Now listen, life, you listen to me. And so that's so painful. That's such a painful way to live. Like to tell life, you know, what you need to be. When it's all right here. It's always been right here. But it's everything, which is not what the me is looking for. Because if it's everything, then where's special? So it's not a concept, and words are concepts. So what do I mean? Right, that was the joke about the Tao Te Ching. You know, the Tao that can be spoken is not the, you know, true Tao, and then there's like 300 more pages. So this is an open meeting. Everybody's welcome to participate. If you have a comment or question, please feel free to unmute and jump in.
Michael, I really enjoyed what you were saying, and it occurs here that in the story of Maureen, in this character, I've pretty much had in the decades of seeking, I pretty much had every possible indication that I was on the right track, like extended unusual states, certain kinds of powers arising and subsiding, et cetera, et cetera. And now recently what's happening is just an off the charts level of synchronicity. And that was very special in my years of spiritual training and practice. That was a sign that I was really going somewhere. and and it's really so so lovely to just it's a no thing. Like, what's funny is that now that's been happening for a little while, what occurs is that it's actually always happening. I've sort of lost sight now of what the concept of synchronicity means. I used to have a strong spiritual idea of what it meant, and that it meant you were a better person or whatever. I mean, I understand it's coincidence and it's basically quote unquote manifesting certain things spontaneously. But at this point, yeah, like, what is not synchronous of everything? I mean, what could not be synchronous? It's all just spontaneously arising and unfolding. And I mean, and what's interesting about the specialness is it always includes conditionality, cause and effect, time, getting somewhere, you know, which again, that's the life of the me, innocently. That's just the life of the me. But it's really been so lovely to have another one of these, whatever they are called, and just it's appearing as a no thing rather than as a something special. And I'm grateful. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Maureen, touching on what you just said, you know, it's great that, you know, there are no mistakes, there are no accidents, there are no coincidences, there's no mistake that we all came together. And I think we all get that. That's the beauty of it. Where others are struggling, trying to, living in their separation, trying to sort out everything. And Michael, earlier you said, started with problem with the individual is there is no problem. Well, I agree. That's the self has to find a problem or create a problem and solve it. That's the whole job of the self.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But that wasn't exactly the quote, the last part. It was, so, and again, it's the problem for the individual is there isn't one.
Right, but the individual thinks that it has to find a problem or create one and solve it.
Right, because it imagines that it's real.
Right.
Well, in the quote, it's a little confusing, maybe because we're not quite sure, does he mean there isn't an individual, which I think is probably what he meant, but it could be taken as, well, there isn't a problem. And actually, they both work because individual is a problem. Really, it's the same thing. There isn't any problem without an individual, and there's no individual without a problem. And the individual is the problem, and the journey of solving the problem. It's endless and doesn't exist. But pay no mind to that. And that all goes along with specialness, as you know, and some of these other things Michael was just talking about. They all kind of dovetail into each other. They all go back, point back to the same thing. And in a way, the problem for me is that I'm special. I'm already special, and then or you could say the problem for me is that I exist. I'm here as something separate from everything else. Anyway, it goes on and on.
Actually, on the phone to me, Dan, I like the way you said it even more. You said the me is special, but not special enough.
Mhm.
Yeah, those things go together also. Yeah, that's what specialness seems. Yeah, is it? It's a. Yeah. Anyway, special is never special enough. And enough is never special.
Mhm.
But that's special, maybe, in another way.
Or another one, how about those special memories? Those just personal, intimate, nobody else knows about them.
The special memories are just all part of the specialness of me. And, it's kind of like this creature, this specialness of me. And that, of course, is a story. And that story continues, and the specialness of the me is looking for more, for the right specialness, you could say, or the right story. Anyway, looking everywhere, but never just seeing this, because this is not in my story and has nothing to do with me, as Michael, you said at the beginning. It just, it doesn't have.
Yeah,
I'm not looking for anything that doesn't relate to me and isn't about me. That doesn't come into my radar.
yeah, just what's happening isn't personal.
Yeah. It's funny, this thing about coincidence and synchronicity. I'm just thinking, and as Maureen said, this is everything happen. I mean, that's what coincidence means, like happening together, happening, and synchronicity, the same thing. Yeah, they're both, well, everything is happening together. There is only happening together. There is no happening apart. But the story of me is a story of things happening apart and coming together in a certain way that goes with the story. And of course, I never get out of the story. I never get out of my story. And so the story is telling me how things go together and how they should go together, and so the synchronicity just seems very special, but actually that specialness of everything going together is what this is. Yeah.
Alan, Alan Watts said, when you're ready to awaken, you'll awaken. And the experience here is that there's a clarity that with what is spoken of here and what we understand, there is no self or separate self, I should say. And here, there appears the residual Michael, and it appears to be the ego or separate self, but it's a felt sense, a contraction, sort of a little bit of discord. And simultaneously, I can say, well, that's this too, or that's also wholeness appearing in spaciousness. And sometimes that apparent perception of separateness dissipates, and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes that sense of separateness or that contraction comes upon me unbidden, much, much less. I commented last time that I'm much, much less of an asshole. The result of that dissipation. But to me here, this essence of talking is that I believe it was Nkosi said that there is never not this, and there is never not this, so to say, there's not this experience of the quality of Michael coming and going, getting less and less, to be sure, apparently. But it is also that, and that is this too. So there's much less, like Mad Magazine, what me worry quality, you know. It's just,
Yeah, but that's, Michael, that's not what we're talking about at this meeting.
well, there is this arising.
No. Let me wait. See, we're not taught. What's being shared here has nothing to do with that story. It's simply saying whatever is arising is it.
Yes,
That's it.
yes, I agree. But you pick up something that appears to be something different, and that's what's appearing too. That's
Yes.
it
Yeah.
too.
I guess one of the things I'm taking away from this is just to let you all know I was an incredible asshole yesterday.
Mm.
I just, anyway, and it's okay. I got to be an asshole, and I got not to have to beat myself up. And that's one of the things that seems to be happening, is that nothing special is happening. It's just that I see that it's just happening. And not that I mean, even when, I don't know about even when, it's just happening, and it's okay, because I thought I had to look spiritual at one point, and I still sometimes get into that mode that I have to look nice, or I can't look like this or like that. And it's nice not to carry that so heavy as I once used to carry it. And so nothing is really right or wrong here. It just, I really am understanding more. It's just happening. And I get to be an asshole, and it's okay.
Well, there's already no you to be an asshole, Alice.
Right. There isn't, but do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what
like
you think.
Alice, I really loved what you said. In terms of, like, the characters' manifestations aren't defining anymore. They're
Yes.
not, they don't mean anything. Like I'm having a similar experience where I find yelling sometimes, and this whatever just never ever yelled before, and it's funny, every once in a while it'll just yell if someone's being just really horrible, and it's so curious. It's such a curious impression, and for some reason it just arises, and exactly what you said, like there's no thought about, oh, this means this, or oh, what if this happens, or there's none of that weird analysis. It's like weather moving through or something. And Michael, the other Michael, that's Michael-Dan-Jeffries, is Michael, none of the things that I've ever gone through that have typically suggested that I was on the right track or getting better, it turns out have been true. That none of that applies to this at all. There's, it's one of the beautiful things about this is that it's not about conditionality. It's not about getting better or getting anywhere. Those manifestations mean nothing.
Thank you, Maureen.
Also, I think when, whenever we lose our temper, we become, the whole, we always think of false evidence appearing real, because that's where it comes from, fear. So you always keep that in your hard drive of your psyche, false evidence appearing real. It's not real. Then you don't react to it.
And it appears real and it's not real. Appears real and it's not real. So who forgets that it's not real?
Right.
I'm going to dinner tomorrow night at a very nice restaurant that a neighbor invited me to join her for a dinner. And she has no idea of any of this conversation. So I'm going to be there as no thing and nobody. And then the challenge is carrying on a pleasant conversation with, and I can only paraphrase Nkosi. Oh, that's beautiful.
Mhm.
I'm talking about my dead husband. Well, it's beautiful and already, and it's so lovely. And though I won't go that insane at that dinner, but the dilemma is navigating the clarity, that multiple choice question. Is anything real? No. Is it all nothing? Is it all beautiful? Is it all this, the spaciousness and everything appearing within this? Yes, yes, absolutely. And then the play of that it's, well, this is real, isn't it? I'm gonna go to dinner and isn't this woman lost her husband? And so I'm not trying to be in a soapbox about anything, but the engagement with this is absolutely beautiful and keeps me coming back to these dialogues, or these apparent dialogues of no one talking to no one about nothing. Simply curious as to how it will show up with this lovely lady who has no idea that no one is talking to no one about nothing.
I had asked Nkosi if the mother of his child was aware of these things that he is saying to us, or some of these things, and he said no. She has she doesn't have any awareness of it. I'm not sure those were the exact words he used, but he said, we have such a beautiful relationship. We just have just a beautiful, I don't even know if he used relationship, but it was just very lovely to hear that I can have a really good relationship with somebody who doesn't seem to know this. And I've actually been in a relationship with someone 6 years, and we've never discussed this. He knows I come to a webinar every Wednesday night. He knows I do this, but there's no need to discuss that he's nobody or I'm nobody, those kinds of things. But anyway, just saying.
If it's all this, then there's nobody really in a relationship. There's nobody knowing this and somebody not knowing this. That doesn't occur. It's just this, which seems to allow for all relationships.
Mhm.
And whoa, yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
If I say another person doesn't know that, but I know this and they don't know this, then I separate them off. They don't know this. How can I talk to them? Because I know something that they don't know. Makes me real special. Makes the relationship horrible.
Yeah, it's a lot of imagining, right, Don? Because you're imagining that you know something. And then look at this audacity. You imagine you know what they don't.
And then comes the thought that they're really the lucky ones.
It's like there's nothing to be done with just what's happening. So the idea that there's nowhere to get to, all getting to is imagined.
My question always, again, just to get it more clear, that imagine, where is that being sourced from?
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Well, Don, in a way, you kind of hit the nail on the head. That's exactly it. There is no answer. And yet, as a me, that's all I'm looking for is answers. But
Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful example of me in action. I imagine that there is something called a source, and now I have a question. Well, where is that? What is the source of this? Where's this? Where's the source of this imagining? But the clue is there is no knowing of what anything is, and everything that we tell about it is the story. So we have a story of source, something called a source, which is a place where things come from. Well, that's a great story, and it's useful in a lot of, in a story for a lot of things. But this isn't about sources or things coming from from one place and going somewhere else. What is the source of anything, of everything? What's the source of everything? Well, what's the source of this? Where's it going? How does it go? Yeah. There aren't answers to those things because the questions are all imagined.
All questions lead nowhere.
Well, where could they lead? Where would they go? There isn't any place. There's just this. All the places are in the story. So we have to go into a story first, and then we can explore sources and causes and effects, and yeah. But that's very, very hard for me. Well, it's impossible for me because me is already in a story, already on a journey, as I keep saying. And if this is already it, then there's nowhere for me, no place for me. But somehow me being here without a place is it too. And how can you doesn't make sense.
One of the, Dan, were you all done?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that occurred that I wanted to add about the yelling was that there was no idea that it was right or wrong or good or bad. It was just energy. And actually, in a funny way, it was perfect. And I don't know how to articulate that, but it was just what it was. And the apparent results were what they were, but there was no good or bad about it. I used to have such strong feelings that quote unquote negative emotions were bad, were weak or whatever. But you think about those stories. I mean, and these are stories too, but like you think about the Christ energy and the money changers, in the money changers place where he's basically throwing tables up and over. And I mean, or different moments where a particular energy comes in, and for some reason it's perfectly suited to whatever is unfolding. It's not anyone doing it. It's just the play of energy. And I don't mean perfectly suited like it's supposed to be that way or was meant to be that way. I just mean, of course, it happened. It is. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, the me has a lot of talents, and one of them is the ability to judge energy, to, I know, the ability to know what one piece of energy from another, and which one is good and which one isn't, and what should be here and what shouldn't, and how it should all be, as if there's anything other than just energy. And there isn't. There's just energy. And then me is kind of putting all that into a story. And then and then you have judging, knowing how the energy is supposed to be and should be. What is that but a story? And in the meantime, there's this energy appearing just the way it is. And now with an Nkosi. Welcome.
Hi, Nkosi. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Michael. Hello, everyone.
So there's this energy just appearing as it is that you were just saying. And then there's also this energy appearing as this here, trying to change the direction of that energy. So everything's okay. There's no, the apparent me is part of trying to change the energy and trying to figure it out. So it all becomes very valid. The me becomes uplifted. The me is everything, or everything appearing as me.
I told on you and Nkosi because I said in one of our small sessions, I had asked if the mother of your child was interested in all of this stuff. And you seemed to indicate that no, she wasn't. And you had such a loving response to it, like it didn't matter.
Yeah, nothing matters to this. Yeah, nothing matters because there's only this, there's only everything. There's nothing outside of everything. And in this everything as it is, anything may be spoken here. There may be dislikes and likes appearing. Anything may appear here. So this has no limitations. You know, it's everything. There's no separation. So really, it doesn't mind itself. It doesn't mind. The talking happening, thinking happening, suggestions, wondering, you know,
Now, we were
anything may
talking-
arise here. Sorry.
Sorry. We were talking a little bit about yelling happening or being angry happening, and somehow that still doesn't quite fit the way some other things do as happening. And maybe because of deep conditioning that those things were wrong from trying to be spiritual or something. Can you talk a little about that, thinking that some of those negative emotions there's still no separation. There could never be.
Yeah, anger may arise, frustration may arise, but there is no one behind it. There's no one behind that. It's just frustration arising. Nobody is frustrated. You know, the sense of not getting it may seem to arise, but it's not arising for anyone. There's no one there. So everything is this. Even what seems to be asking that question is already totality asking a question. There is no you already to find anything, to know anything, or to become anything. There's just everything here already. So everything is beautiful just the way it is. There's no doer already. Or I can say the doer is everything. There's no separate doer. Or what seems to be somebody may appear to take decisions, but those decisions are actually taken by everything because there's no one, there's no separation. There's no one separated from this already. The anger, frustration, jealousy, it's already this. It's already this. There's no wrong or right here. So everything is beautiful, just the way it is. Everyone, or should I say, what seems to be everyone is already okay. Is already okay. There may be thoughts that say, oh, but I'm not okay. I'm not feeling okay. But it's also just everything, what is appearing as those thoughts too. So everything is beautiful. So thoughts themselves as they are, they can never be seen. If something says, I'm very angry, then where is it? Who is angry? It can never, that one can never really be found. Because it's everything. It's just everything. Appearing is that. So freedom can never be explained. It's everything already. So this here, this just talking, but this talking is not directed to anyone because there's no one here already. It's just empty space. I would say it's empty and full at the same time. It's not just blank space. It's aliveness. It's bubbling with life. It's alive. So everything is beautiful because everything is an expression of this. This is everything. This is freedom already. Freedom is not somewhere out there. It's already here. It's already everything. It's already this. So anything may arise here. There may be a donkey here chasing a raccoon, appearing. You know, there are no limitations. Suddenly, an elephant may appear from nowhere. You know, it's just this also expressing. You know, so and there's who knows something, who knows anything. There's just everything already.
So this is probably a pretty silly question, but so a father yelling at a child who is innocently doing whatever they're doing, but a father judges that the child is, I don't know, being disrespectful or naughty or something. That's all just this too.
Yeah, there's already no father and no son. There's just totality. There's just freedom appearing as that. There's no real father. There's no real son. It's just everything appearing as that.
So when I feel distressed by watching that happen, it's because I've put some personal slant on it. It's about the person and the me. Whereas you're not doing that. You're not saying that.
Yeah, it's already everything appearing as a you, not liking what's happening.
Mm.
It's already everything, including the father who's yelling at his son.
Yeah, so the whole thing's imaginary, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's just everything.
Just
It's
a
just
story, a story that's going on in my head. Yeah.
There's no you to have a head already.
No, that's right.
Yeah, there's just everything, which also appears as a you. Yeah. Everything's beautiful. Everything is okay.
Thank you.
So if you see somebody, a father beating his son, although that's not really happening, that's just all of everything is that. And do you then does the me here, or whatever that is, whatever, not interfere? Does this me, is there no choice or no either the everything from here will go over and save the child or not?
Yeah.
Or do I have anything to say about that? Go.
Yeah. An action might be taken. Yeah, may seem to go there and say, no, stop it, don't do it, you know. But there's no one behind that action. There's just everything appearing as that. There's no doer.
So
It's
the
not to
action.
say, yes, yes.
So the action is responsible for everything.
What I'm saying is, the action might be taken, but there's no one who's doing it. And what's happening? A father beating up his son. There's no real father and there's no real son. It's also just this, which is totality appearing as that. Also appearing as somebody who's taking an action to save the child, to save the son. Yes. It's all just one thing. There's no separation.
Okay, so I don't get the point of everything doing that. I don't, it doesn't, it will beat one person and then the action will either stop that beating, come in and stop the beating, or not stop the beating, go somewhere else. So that just doesn't make any sense to
Yeah,
me.
that's also everything appearing as that.
With no escape, Don.
Yeah, there's no answers.
Well, and Don, in the botanical world, species spontaneously kill one another for no reason. One species becomes diseased, one species flourishes for no reason. So why would there need to be a reason here? Or just life?
Well, there could be a reason, Maureen, because we have the ability to conceptualize and feel in a way that animals can't. And I think Don, if you want to, if something takes you to get involved with that situation, that's this too. So you can't avoid it, which is good. So if you're moved to intercede because something moved you, then that's this. So I think what happens is sometimes we think that if we intercede as a human being, there's something wrong with that. And you can't, the not escaping part is also positive, meaning it takes care of itself. So I think it's important to always know that it's like spiritual bypassing. We can talk about anything you want. If you see someone beating up a kid and you're there, I don't want to project on you. I can talk about me. I'm getting involved. There's no discussion of right or wrong. Sorry, there's no discussion of this or not this. It's just already happening. And so I just think sometimes in these meetings, we almost push ourselves in a corner where we think we can't act as a human. That acting as a human is perfectly this too. And so I think that we have to always remember that as well. Whatever you do is the Tao. Whatever you do is this. And if you're being moved to intercede with someone, whether they're physically beating up on someone or yelling at someone, it's perfect. That's perfect that you're moved to do that.
But Alan, will you say a little bit more about see our quote unquote ability to reason? It doesn't connect here with what you were suggesting it connects with, which is that it has some value, or it's able to measure, or it's able to make decisions. Like there isn't anything that does that. And so I got confused when you were talking about that, and I agreed with, I mean, well, it doesn't matter about agreement, but yeah, action appears to just take place or it doesn't. But I wasn't following what you said about we have the capacity for reason. There isn't anything there that has a capacity. Like isn't that just an illusion?
With all due respect, I don't see any of that as an illusion. I think that we all made a decision to be here tonight. We can say that we were moved to be here unconsciously, intuitively. We can say it's this, but we're in a physical body. You can't deny that. We can say that that's the me talking, and that's fine. We can go there as well. But you can't deny that we're in a body. We have a brain. We have a brain that's sending out sending out neurotransmitters. It's sending out neural messages. It's just who we are. We are different than. I'm not going to say it's right or wrong necessarily, but we're different than fish. You know, fish are swimming and doing what they're doing, and we can say it's an instinct. We have instincts too, but we also have the capacity to reason. And from my perspective, that's just life. We are in a human form, and that's undeniable. We can say that that's the me talking, and that's fine too. But look, everything is this. So the fact that we are human beings that have the capacity to reason is this too. And so I see us being different than animals for that reason. I don't know if that helps or not, but that's sort of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, it just doesn't occur the way you're describing it here is all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And
That
half the
doesn't
people
matter.
here it may not resonate with, and half the people it might, or
Yeah.
3/4 it might, or 1/4 it might. But
Sure.
I think no matter what you do in this world, I'm not gonna say anything because then that's projecting on other people. I can only say for me. For me, there is definitely an experience of wholeness and spaciousness, but there's also an experience of that wholeness and spaciousness being Alan as a portal for that. And so it's sort of like a swinging door. I can say on one hand, there's just space. There's no one here to hear anything. There's no one here to do anything. I can play that, that role or not role. But at the end of the day, to me, it's both. It's both happening. There's both this as beingness, and there's this as a human being. And so I think that really the benefit of life for me is that I like being able to channel them both and be aware of how they both play out. And we can say that that's a lot of talking from the me, or we can just say that that's this too. The thing about Nkosi every week that he reminds us of is that no matter what we say is this. So if I said something that didn't quite land for you, or it doesn't occur in your experience, that's perfect. That's what is where you are. And then everything that's coming out of my mouth tonight, which is a lot more than the last 3 months, is what I'm experiencing. And that's perfectly this too. And that's the beauty of this all being this. So you're not wrong, Maureen, and I'm not wrong. It's just perfect as it is.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I'll be doing a dissertation tonight from 8 p.m. to midnight. If anybody wants to sign up, I'll send you a link through the chat room.
Any last comments or questions before we close out this evening?
This was so fun. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a
Beautiful.
joy.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks so much to each
Thank
and
you.
every one of you. Thanks.
Lots of love.
Lots of love. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a
Bye.
good
Good
night,
night,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye-bye.